This is Common Sense Radio. Straightforward and no excuses.
All right. Come on now.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Call me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
What I said was perfectly right and spot on accurate.
Boy's got a mouth like a cannon, always shooting it all.
Stop. Yeah, stop. I mean, you're way off script.
Got it in me. Gonna quit until it all comes out.
Hey, boy!
Been a long education.
Yeah, you know, it's not cynical. It's common sense.
Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you.
I'm gonna rock the nation. Rock the nation.
Genuine, accountable, and raw. Here is Steve Gruber.
Welcome to it. 6 minutes after the hour on this Thursday. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. You can find out more at stevegruber.com, where you can find podcasts, listen live, post some comments for me to read on the air, and all of that, plus some nifty pictures. And yes, I use the word nifty. There you have it. Coming up a little bit later here in this hour, we'll have Dr. Ben Carson here on the program. We'll revisit that interview that I had with him yesterday. It is an in-depth interview that will cover a tremendous amount of territory. My exclusive interview with Dr. Ben Carson coming up in just a bit. But first, Congressman Tim Walberg, who is on his way to see the Pope in a historical address to Congress. Congressman, welcome to the program.
Hey, good to be with you, and I wish I could have heard Ben Carson at Spring Arbor University yesterday in my district. I'm sure
He packed the house, 3,000 people, more than 3,000. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah,
he
a couple
put them
of
in
people
there.
that'll be here to hear the Pope today were integral in helping to put that event together over at Spring Arbor. So it'd be interesting to hear what he said and your interview. But today we have the opportunity to hear from the Pope, and in the chambers, I'm sure all ears will be wide open to listen to the nuances and everything else that goes on.
Well, it's not even so much nuance. The Pope is here. He's talking about climate change. He's talking about income inequality. He sounds like, to me, the Pope is venturing into left field, literally and figuratively, venturing into left field and becoming a lot more political than would normally be expected or anticipated. But that's the way I see it. What do you think?
Well, I listened to him yesterday at the White House welcoming ceremony and had a deacon from the church from my district there with me. And then afterwards, we had an opportunity to have brunch together and talk through. And, of course, I think we all have to have a filter that says the Pope is certainly talking from spiritual implications, his understanding, for instance, of stewardship of the resources. Climate change, I think, jumped on a little bit further than what many of us would expect to agree with on stewardship of natural resources. Certainly, we're to make sure that our air and water are kept as clean as possible, plastic bags aren't floating all over, etc. But I think, in turn, we also are to use the resources that we have and be stewards by using them fully to benefit others. When you get in the area of capitalism, you and I both know that all the world that is starting to grow is moving the capitalist free enterprise direction. And sadly, America, that grew extensively because of that in such a short period of time, is moving away from it, and we're experiencing that impact. So, I think there certainly is a place for a religious leader of the significance of the Pope to call people to think about what they do. Mm-hmm. But I also hope that this will develop a debate amongst all of us of how we can use resources and more importantly, how we can protect those gifts of God that have been given to us, and that includes human life.
And protect jobs and so forth as well in the economy, which is extremely important as well. Now,
the whole theology of work is a huge theology, and we could spend 2 shows talking about that, but work is a good thing.
I'll give you the theology of work ethic, that's for sure. Now, before we run out of time here, because I know you have to go and participate in this event, but I want to focus a little bit on a poll that just came out from Fox News. 62% of Republicans feel betrayed by the people they have elected to office, you included. 62% of Republicans betrayed by the Republicans have been sent to Washington because, frankly, since November of 2014 when the sweeping election occurred, nothing has changed. Mitt McConnell seems to bend over backwards to allow the Iran deal to occur. John Boehner is ineffective and ineffectual to most people. Kevin McCarthy's name being thrown around ever more often as a possible replacement for Boehner if there's a coup in the House. And I know you won't answer the question on that because I've asked before. However, What do you say to people saying, listen, what the hell has changed since November of 2014? It looks like more of the same with Barack Obama doing as he pleases, when he pleases, how he pleases, without regard to anybody else.
Well, I can understand that, and I hear that in my town halls regularly, and it's something that we have to answer. But since 2012 and the Republicans took control of the House, we've seen things like the EPA be rolled back to 1989 staffing levels. We've got a 2011 budget still in place that's holding us, even though the president and Harry Reid won't allow a full budget to be passed in the concept of what we understand a budget to be. And so we're at 2011 levels. That's significant. We have the IRS being reined in. We have Lois Lerner out. We have the OPM director out. We've got Eric Holder out. We have courts upholding us on Burwell, Obamacare mandates. We have other court cases that will ensue. The U.S. House of Representatives last week passed a defunding of Planned Parenthood. Sure, the Senate, it didn't follow suit, but the House of Representatives representing the people that elected us did what they asked us to do, and will continue to do that. We've set up a lawsuit potential for that on Iran. We passed 3 bills that sets up a lawsuit there that the president didn't follow the law that he signed, and 60 days really hasn't started. I mean, we can't control the Senate, but I think the people have to.
Then hold on. Let me stop you right there.
Working.
Let me ask you something. I need to stop you right there because, again, I know our time is short today. You just gave me a whole laundry list of things that have been done and things that have happened. Then you've got a PR problem.
You bet we do.
Well, you're Republicans. Do you not have the ability to go to Madison Avenue like anybody else and get a PR group that can get your message out? Because John Boehner, he ain't getting it done. And as much as you may dislike Harry Reid, and I didn't care for Harry Reid much at all, his message was out there loud and clear every single day.
Well, remember one thing they have is a national media that will put theirs out free of charge. We have to pay for everything we get, and maybe we ought to pay better people. Frank Luntz has been contracted for years to work with us. I'm not a fan of Frank Luntz, but there's a noted PR person for marketing.
It appears that he's gotten a few free lunches along the way. Whoops, that wasn't very nice. Go on.
But again, we have a problem that the Democrats don't have as well. That our media often, especially when we think of the cable media, spend more time attacking the Republicans than they do attacking the Democrats, and that's a challenge for us now.
I'll give you that.
Having said that, Steve, I'm not complaining. It's my responsibility. That's why I did 70 live town hall meetings this past term. I'm doing it again. Teletown hall meeting. I'll be doing another one tonight. I send out tweets, Facebook, webs, you name it, trying to get the message out. I'm doing the best I can, and we'll look for better ways to do it in the future as well. But you're right. We have to get our message out more clearly so the people are at least are encouraged and aren't so frustrated and so angry that they feel like all is lost.
Well, you have to, because you just gave us
move forward.
You gave us several examples.
I'm going to do my best.
You gave us several examples there of things that I was not even aware of. And trust me, I'm looking at this stuff all the time, all day long. So is Ivy. And we're all looking at this stuff all the time. So are other producers and so forth. And you gave me a whole list of things. Anyhow, I know you have to run off to the Mass, and I hope that's a great event. At some point, I hope to join you in Washington sometime, and maybe you can show me around. Always a pleasure.
I'd love to have you shadow me, and thanks for giving voice.
All right, Congressman Tim Walberg from the 7th District here in Michigan. It's Thursday on the Steve Gruber Show.
Genuine Michigan common sense on display every day. It's Thursday. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll revisit that interview with Dr. Ben Carson here on the program. Now sitting squarely in second position in the pursuit of the Republican nomination to be president of the United States. Donald Trump's numbers have weakened a bit. Dr. Carson's numbers seem to have weakened just slightly. Could be an anomaly. Carly Fiorina picking up some steam, as is Marco Rubio. But a fascinating conversation with Dr. Carson coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Don't miss it. And you can catch it on podcast as well at stevegruber.com. It's powered by Podbean. And you can go in there and find all sorts of conversations and and my commentaries and great guests. It's all managed by our associate producer, Rob Burkhardt, does a great job with that, and I appreciate that. And it's all there for you. It's SteveGruber.com. You can also listen live there, so check that out. Ron Fournier, writing in the National Journal, a very much left-of-center publication, is giving, this should be a red flag warning to the Clinton campaign, I guess is what I'm saying. This should be a red flag warning to the Clinton campaign. The headline, Hillary Clinton, come clean or get out. In the subtitle, the email scandal is a distraction from the important work of the Democratic Party. Here's what he writes yesterday, does Ron Fournier in the National Journal. If the Democratic Party cares to salvage a sliver of moral authority, its leaders and early state voters need to send Hillary Rodham Clinton an urgent message. Come clean or get out. Stop lying and deflecting about how and why you stashed State Department emails on a secret server, or stop running. Tell her we can't have another day like this. Story number 1 yesterday. The State Department confirmed that Clinton turned over her email only after Congress discovered that she had exclusively used a private email system. The department first contacted her in the summer of 2014, at least 3 months before the agency asked Clinton and 3 of her predecessors to provide emails. The story undercuts Clinton's claim that her decision to turn over self-selected email was a response to a routine sounding records request. She hasn't been telling the truth, so writes Fournier. Story number 2. A federal court has helped uncover more emails related to the Benghazi raid that were withheld from congressional investigators. Clinton has insisted she turn over all her work-related email and complied with congressional subpoenas. Again, she hasn't been telling the truth, says Fournier. Story number 3. The FBI has recovered personal and work-related emails from her private server, raising the possibility that the deleted information becomes public. The FBI is investigating how and why classified information ended up on Clinton's server. While the Democratic frontrunner still insists there was no classified information on the unsecured server, the FBI has moved beyond, this is key in Fournier's writing, the FBI has moved beyond whether U.S. secrets were involved to how and why they were involved. In the language of law enforcement, the FBI is investigating her motive. Her motive at this point, not whether or not it happened, but what her motive was, because it did happen. On Sunday, Clinton told Face the Nation host John Dickerson, "What I did was allowed. It was fully above board, and I tried to be fully transparent." Both claims are false. Both claims are objectively and indisputably false. Again, says Ron Fournier in the left-leaning liberal National Journal. From the moment this story broke in March, senior Democrats told me they were worried about whether the questions would lead or where the questions would lead. Several said they feared what the emails might show about the intersection of Clinton's work at the State Department and the family's private foundation. One Clinton loyalist, a credible source who I've known for years, told me the emails are a related but secondary scandal. Follow the foundation money. Did you get that? Buried in Ron Fournier's piece here, written yesterday in the National Journal, is it's a game changer, is what it is. The emails are a related but secondary scandal. Follow the foundation money. Now, that is still speculation, but months of dishonesty and deception took their toll. A majority of Americans do not trust Mrs. Clinton. And the Democratic nomination fight has shifted from a coronation to a competition. A poll released by Bloomberg shows Clinton barely leading socialist Bernie Sanders, a goofy senator from Vermont. Okay, that was my part. And Vice President Joe Biden, who's not even in the race at this point. For Democrats, this is an opportunity wasted. A crowded Republican field has been taken hostage by a celebrity billionaire with a history of bankruptcy, sexist behavior, and racially offensive statements. Lacking a firm grip on policy or the truth, Donald Trump is the GOP frontrunner. And that brings us back to Clinton. Loyalists argue that her policy agenda speaks to America's new democracy and addresses 21st century challenges. Even if they're right, the Clinton team has underestimated the value that voters place on a candidate's character. You see, character actually matters. How long have you heard me say that? How long have you heard me say that? Character matters. Work ethic matters. These things do matter. Working hard and telling the truth matters. Even today, even when you see people cutting corners and not telling the truth and getting by and sometimes getting rewarded for their bad behavior, financially, emotionally, whatever it may be. The fact of the matter is, my friends, that you are accountable to yourself, to your God, and you should be. Hard work matters. Telling the truth matters. Character matters. 25 after the hour. Coming up in just a few minutes now, Dr. Ben Carson here on the program. Stay tuned for that. It's the Steve Gruber Show.